Glenn, did you say you used to be a cop or just first responder?
I was firefighter paramedic.
I was going to ask if you'd ever dealt with any. Oh my gosh, I was going to see if you ever dealt with any police impersonators. I knew I had a couple cops on here. I've been down like this rabbit hole of people with police impersonators on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
There's some deep-seated psychosis, weird things going wrong with those guys.
Yes,
like that is a subject matter in and of itself. These guys got like a Honda Prelude, and they buy these lights for the front and back and just pull people over. I'm like, what in the hell?
Oh my god!
And they always dress like sort of cop adjacent, you know. so it's like a pair of khakis and a belt with like what may or may not be a badge, but you can't really tell.
Sounds very felonious.
Yeah, it's a felony, stage 1.
Yeah.
All of that for a free drink at McDonald's, really? I mean,
it's like stolen valor for cheap pancakes at IHOP on November 11th. There's one guy that has a motorcycle that does like that, and he's like in a psych ward. His motorcycle had like a fake police department on it. He pulled people over. I just care about your safety. And you know you get secondhand embarrassment when you see things like people that you can tell obviously have problems, like when the slow kid in class gets in trouble for something. You're like, dude, he doesn't know he's doing it, but he doesn't know he's doing it. It's that kind of secondhand embarrassment when you watch it. Like I can't even.
Yeah,
you're watching it like this. I'm like, oh no.
It's a train wreck. You just can't stop watching.
He's tasing him. He's tasing him. Oh, he pissed his pants.
Riding the lightning.
but at least
that kind of reminds me of this. There's this channel I really like, and it's a movie channel. Okay, I just started following this girl. Anyway, she talks about movies, but she has Down syndrome, and a lot of times she'll get like really upset and she'll say things that don't really make sense. But I don't see a lot of people arguing with her because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, I could see why you wouldn't want to argue with her because you just be arguing with somebody who has Down syndrome, you know. So it's like, I'll just let her do whatever she wants. I mean, that's how I view it.
What's the channel you're talking about?
I don't know if I should say now. I don't want to draw negative. I'll tell you off air if you want.
Well, the reason I asked is I follow a channel that has like a strange person that reviews movies, and I've always thought something was slightly off, but it doesn't. I don't have like a Down syndrome vibe from her.
Okay.
Like she does these. She's got millions of followers, and after I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I always follow her and Chris Stuckman and a couple other ones for movie reviews. And when I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it like changed my life. I had to go walk around Target for an hour to get my mind clear. And I went over to watch hers, and she said it was the most awful piece of anti-woman cinema she'd ever seen. I'm like, what the hell? What movie did you watch? I guess Tarantino's feet obsession just kind of threw her off.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great movie.
Oh man, it changed my life. I'm a big Lebowski fan from high school.
Yeah, me too.
And I told everybody it was like Big Lebowski on steroids. It's like the same movie almost. It's got Lebowski vibes.
Yeah.
I think there's a scene where the Manson kids got their heads. He hit that woman's head against the mantle. What was it called on American History X when he crushed his teeth against the curb?
Irish curb stomping.
Yeah,
curb stomping.
Yes, curb stomping.
He did that, but with the mantle. And then he did it with the phone. Back in the day when he used to have the phone on the wall, he took the phone and it kept ringing.
Angela Lansbury recently died, and I read a story that back in the day, her daughter was getting involved with a group in Hollywood that were involved in drugs and stuff. So she moved the entire family to Ireland, and it turned out that the group was the Manson family that her daughter had been getting involved with.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's too. What if Angela Lansbury had a Netflix special where she was involved with the Mansons?
Right.
We just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Murder, She Wrote, a swastika on his forehead.
I have
the
all
Family
the
Channel.
DVDs to her that TV show, Murder, She Wrote. the entire collection. I love that show.
Did you? I read a statistic one time about that town in Maine. She said if that was true, it would be the most high crime area on the planet.
Yeah.
They said it has more crime per capita, like 10-fold in the Middle East.
I think it's a
Like New York
competition
City.
between that place and the towns in Midsummer Murders. It's a British TV show. They always have weird murders that take place every single show.
Or Dexter.
Yeah.
The Bay City butcher. He's now butchering those logs. We got a comment here. Luke Morgan from Texas. Such a good mom. Luke is a Cisco engineer. I worked with him on the Arsenal. Now he's a Dr. Pepper squilling Texan with an RV and a bad attitude. Let's see. Let's check this other thing out I found today. Don't everybody get too excited. This is gonna really blow some of your minds here. But
all right. You know, just once I would love to have my mind imploded instead of blown. You know what I mean?
Imploded.
Yeah.
Can you see this?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
It's a archaeologists uncover a pyramid of previously unknown Egyptian queen.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I'm hearing about is Taylor Swift tickets. Like where the hell is this? Like I just go through my day looking for things like this, and I find it. I'm like, this is not front page of news.
Yeah.
But how do you say her name? You guys are PhDs. Neath?
That's what I would say. It's like Keith, but Neath.
Neath, yeah.
Neath. Sounds like one of those guys that call you about your car warranty. Hello, this is this is Neath. Excuse me, what was your name? I'm Neath. They found her, and it says here we have to rewrite history, adding new queens to our records. I'm like, does that hurt you or something? Does that think the guy that found this thought that something bad was going to happen, like Graham Hancock?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anytime they find something new, who do we tell? Or something else? And like they found like 300 coffins down there.
With her?
Yeah, they found. Let's see, Teddy's pyramid. Teddy.
Big Ted.
Ted. Researchers discovered coffins and mummies at the location that could belong to top advisors of General King Tut, and nearby pyramid that belonged to King Teddy. And 300 coffins from the new king. I don't understand. Like maybe they should open them all and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Talk around and find out.
Just start popping lids like a beer garden. see what kind of black shit comes out.
Well, I heard that back in the day, Americans would have like mummy parties where they would unravel a mummy, and then they also had pills where they would eat. The pills would have like shredded mummy in them. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Yeah, it used to happen back in the day. I'm not sure how anecdotal that is, but I think I read that somewhere.
Shredded, I heard the British used to eat them. I didn't know the Americans did.
Yeah, maybe I'm not sure about the nationality. I don't want to blame somebody for eating mummies if they're not. But some humans used to eat mummies, pills, like pulverized mummies, like a supplement or something.
The reasoning to an eaten mummy.
Were they caplets or tablets? I was curious.
I don't know. I'm gonna guess.
Not that long ago, it would have been a tablet. Seems like tablets are a newer thing.
Well, maybe we have a capsule.
We have another guest to the old show here.
All right.
UFO Man.
Hey guys.
Oh, UFO Man.
Hey, what's going on, Tim? I didn't think he'd show up.
Oh no, I was planning on showing up, but
that's cool.
I was 8 minutes late. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
8 minutes. There's no time here. This place transcends time. This is the inevitable.
I popped in earlier and you were out of your chair, so.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That was when I was trying to secure caffeine.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way, man. I got a cup sitting behind me that I gotta go get. But anyways, yeah.
So I found Rogue Mountain Dews in my outside freezer, and I poured it in here. I got to looking at my Woodford Reserve and looking at my Mountain Dew. I'm like, do I do this? I can make this. What kind of show do I want to have right now?
Oh well, both. Add them both together. There you go.
So if it goes beyond an hour, I may go out and make a combination.
There you go. That's exactly right.
After these words from our sponsors.
Yeah. Well, nice to
really
meet
quick.
everybody. Hi, Mindy, and hi,
Hello.
Glenn.
Hello.
I'm sorry I'm not on camera. I'm just wow.
I'm
I
not.
think you know Wild Trees, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
I know you share my post every week, so I said I better just befriend that guy.
Yeah, what's up with that? Yeah. Anyways, I look at it this way, man. I don't forget where I came from. Okay. I'm a bigger channel, but not much bigger. But I look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
We like my flock says, we're stronger together rather than separate.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
Oh yeah. I never really understand. I hear what you're saying.
So I visit everybody's channel. Well, except the ones that are gigantic.
It's great. Very commendable.
Yeah.
There are some channels I won't go on because I don't believe in their ethical morality. But I could name them, but I'm not going to.
The good news about this channel: no ethics, no morals.
There you go. That's a good channel. There you go.
We are a runaway truck down Mont Eagle. I mean, it's
Mindy, you have no camera?
Not on this computer. I have on another computer, but my son's using it.
Well, you're the mom.
Look here, you little shit.
Give him your computer and switch. No, I'm just kidding.
He's a good boy. He's a good child.
What's your show?
I'm sure he is. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Sarah chimed in. Tim is based.
Facts.
Based facts. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Wait. Oh, we have Mr. Catfish on here? He slipped in me on the radar. Oh my gosh,
Hey,
we're too
Mr.
capacity.
Catfish.
Hey, Mr. Catfish.
Tommy Oliver passed? Wow.
Oh.
I don't know who that is.
Long Island Bigfoot just joined the crowd.
He's a Power Ranger.
Oh, Mike, how you doing?
Yeah. I saw that.
So when you said Power Ranger, I knew who he was.
It's a Long Island Bigfoot is the actual white Power Ranger. A lot of people didn't know that.
I'll be right back. I'll stay on, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, just take your time, in and out. It doesn't matter. We're to capacity now, so we can do whatever we want. I said 2 people would join. We got 50. I got Sermon on the Mount podcast numbers over here.
I know. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh, I'm late." I'm like, the way you made it sound like you were gonna be like kind of like hanging, but like everybody's here.
Oh yeah, I'll be managing it for anybody else. I have to put somebody on hold. I come back.
Right.
Hey,
He's
we played
calling it
your
the big show.
Yeah, Thanksgiving extravaganza, the haunted turkey. Welcome back to the haunted giblet. We played your Orb video last week.
Oh, for real? Yeah.
Yeah, we spammed the comments with your link too, so make sure you got some love from it.
Oh, was that the green one in the woods?
Yeah, glowing behind the fence.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Which Orb video? I assumed you meant that one because it's most recent. But yeah,
do you know the one that what's his name, Anthony played on his show like 2 weeks ago? It was that one.
Yeah, he played. Well, he played too. He played another one the green one is an orb. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know, I kind of run through the gambit because like it's the right thing to do, because not everyone just like wants to take your word for it. You know, not everybody's followed me for a long time has my trust. So like I'll run through the what it could be and what it can't be and why, and you know, and always you want to take people's opinions and what, you know, and comments too, and like let people think for themselves. So at first I'll always kind of try to just like, you know, put it out there and just say, here it is, you know.
I
So
bet
do
I've
you
watched it
get
like 6 or
really
8 times.
close? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Mike, do you get really close to that orb? Did you walk up to it? And
So I actually had somebody with me, luckily. So on this particular occasion, I tried to advance. So what I did was when I caught it, I said, come here. And it was pouring rain. We were trying to get out of the woods. It was downpouring, and we were out there forever, like holding up our cameras for a minute. You could turn your sleeve down and like a waterfall would come out. So we were drenched, but so we were on our way out, and like all of a sudden I seen it, and I'm like, come here. I'm like yelling at him because I thought it was going to go away a lot faster. I'm like, get over here, you know, like, and like he gets over there. So I'm like, do you have it? And he's like, yeah. So I know he has it on his camera. I'm like, I'm going to move up. So I moved up kind of like tactically, you know, I used a little army skills, I guess. So I went and like, you know, tried to advance a little, and then I locked in on it. I said, come here, I got it. So he moved up. Now he's got it. And I tried to advance again. I said, I lost it. I said, you still got it. He says, no, I lost it too. So I guess at that point it just, you know, started to go. So we didn't get that close to it though. Originally, I was saying it was 4 football fields away. I went back. I was way off. It was a lot closer. It was probably 100 yards away.
If it would have been that far away, it could have feasibly been like a transformer. But that thing was glowing. Was it moving any?
yeah.
You know, it's hard to say if it was doing any movement at all, like, or if, you know, when you're filming in the range, everything comes out terrible, you know, because it's got so much to go through, you know, like it's not just like time, you know, space, it's like all this falling rain. So whatever it was big and bright, you know, and
yeah.
So I don't know if it was moving or it was just appearing to kind of change size, but I don't know. I think it was fairly stationary, but it hung around for about 3-4 minutes, maybe, give or take.
Was that the same the outing you had where you were out in the woods and it just started coming down rain?
Yeah, you know, I personally love the rain, so I go out. Like I like to go out in the rain because I know nobody's out there. You know, I know nobody's going out there, so I'll use the days where it's supposed to downpour or it's supposed to like really snow or bad weather. I use those days to go to the hot spots where humans go, because like I don't like people around me. That's the whole purpose, you know. I like to go out there to leave the world behind. So like if there's a popular spot, I'll usually go there in the rain. But on this particular occasion, we went there because it's like. It's where I go. And I always get something. It's where I've been going forever. So he wanted to go there for his first time. So that's why we went to that spot. But
did you get something?
I mean, we got the orb. He got something weird that we can't explain yet.
Have you seen the orb, Tim /
No.
UFO Man?
No.
It's called production.
Yeah, we got that, and then we got. I don't know if we picked up the audio or both our cameras were off, but it didn't matter to me either way. It was just, you know, it was fun for him. Like he's got a channel too. It's called Montauk is Strange, and like he's a brilliant guy, and he knows a lot about Montauk Project Camp Hero. He's been going out there forever. And I like, you know, I pushed him to make a channel. I was like, man, you got to get this stuff out there, like, you know. But he started doing the cryptid stuff with me because, you know, it's just Camp Hero is great, but it's far. Like it's hard, and it's not just far. It's time consuming because it's all the way out east. So like, there's so much traffic that unless you go in the wintertime when it's not popular out there, because it's a tourist trap, like you just sit in traffic forever, and it just spends all your energy. By the time you get there, you're like, shit, I want to go to sleep.
Is that way out there by Montauk too?
It's in Montauk, yeah.
Okay, that's so creepy. Like the fact that there's nothing in Montauk, but like there could be, like what they say could be out there. That freaks me out.
Well, it's. I mean, it's there. You know, it's plain as day, that base. You know, you can walk around it and stuff, but it's
Isn't the base shut down?
technically, yeah. I mean, they say it's shut down, but so it's a public park now, right? But it's the only public park with off limits areas that exist.
Right.
Like, and then there's pamphlets. You know, you usually go to the board, and there's like a map of the grounds. This literally has a pamphlet in there with like with everything else that says be careful of explosive, ordnance, like unexploded ordnance, and like there's all these different things that want to keep you on trail. So what's the reasoning? I don't know. I don't dive into it too much.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, there it is.
You don't see that? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I see it. That's really cool.
Dude, I can't stop watching. I've watched this a bunch. I've watched this today twice.
That's so
Like, what is it?
weird.
I keep wanting to say it's a transformer, but it just doesn't have a place there.
I did a comparison video, so just I knew people would want to see like where it was exactly.
So, Mike, what do you think orbs are? Just energy, or
I think that
else?
I can only tell you what I know. I'm sure there's multiple purposes for them because they're seen in different scenarios. But I do think that it's just like Sasquatch are masters of energy. So if you know, now this is out there, and I apologize for those of you who don't follow me regularly, but shit gets weird with me.
Well,
so
they should. You're a marketing genius, by the way. I don't
know about that.
Look.
So they can I don't know if they all can, but they can manipulate into these balls of energy. So if you notice you'll always see in the woods that these guys are always talking about structures and bends and tucks and all these different things that connect. So that interconnected, it's all woods that are connection. It's all connection. It's like conduit in your house. So, and then these structures are like outlets. So they go and they charge up at these places. They don't have to consume food like we do to gain energy. Do they? Yeah, but they do it for taste. They like meat. They like deer. They like mussels. They like clams, stuff like that. But they could do more things like plants, like soak in the sun. They could take energy from different places, like natural things and then unnatural things like our power lines. And this isn't my opinion. These are things that were shown to me. So these orbs, they turn into them, and I know it sounds odd, but they travel. They travel that way. They travel in that form through the wood. I know.
Maybe that explains how they disappear so quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one way, and they are. People will tell you they're interdimensional and this and that, and I'm sure they are. I just don't have that. I have not got that solid information yet.
Mm-hmm.
I can I'll only tell my opinions here, and then what I know over here. You know what I mean? I like to keep those separate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so I do think they're interdimensional, but I do not know they're interdimensional.
Okay.
Hey, Bobby, I got something for you to see.
What's up?
I've got an 8x10 photograph that I'm going to show you that I've only shown twice on YouTube.
Cool.
This is a photograph of 10 balls of light, evenly spaced in a straight line, before Starlink went up. This was in 2009. Starlink did not go up in 2009.
Nice.
This was against a blue sky just above a bluff. So we're estimating it at about 2,000 feet above the ground, near a local city by where I live. Now I'm going to see if you can see it. I have tremors, so it's hard for you to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There are 10. Hold on. See if I can get a little stiller.
That does look like Starlink, though.
God dang it.
10 years before Starlink.
No, yeah, we see it. We see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now
sky,
there's
too.
a frame of reference down here. See that light pole?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was in a Walmart parking lot when I photographed.
Oh, I'd seen that video on Unidentified S4. I think he was sharing one of your videos.
So this here is one of the reasons why I started UFO Man. I wanted to find out if anybody else had seen something like this. And so far, I haven't come across one video or photograph that looks exactly like that. Not one.
Was there any kind of feelings or anything with it? Just asking.
I actually didn't notice it right away because I was photographing a sunset.
So you feel like maybe your car didn't start, the stuff everybody always says whenever something gets close?
No, I didn't have any interference, nothing like that.
Okay.
I did get 2 shots. The first shot was three of the balls of light on the right. And then the second shot, like a couple seconds later, were 10. So, and it was so impressive that 2 local news channels wanted to do a live report on it. But at the time, I didn't have the capability of transferring the data by computer to their companies so that they could do it. But I'm looking into it right now because UFOs are so popular. Maybe they'll do a story on it. It was in a couple newspapers on the front page on the top half. One made me look like an idiot, and the other one made me look like, wow, this is kind of cool, But that was before UFOs were accepted. Sure. I mean, even still, that's just the name of the game. People, there's always going to be people that like the clown, and we're easy targets. You know what I mean? We're easy targets for those people who want to just throw shade. We're easy targets because we're technically a minority. Like, we're doing things that the norm is not. We're looking outside the box at the realm that exists outside of normal thinking. Yes, and sir. The thing is I truly believe there are no experts in any field because we're all still learning. We're all students. We're all students. So when you hear somebody say, well, I've got the answers, that's a crock.
Love those guys.
You might got one answer, but I'll tell you one thing. Every answer leads to 100 questions. So I don't know who's an expert in this, in anything.
If people knew actually what's going on behind the scenes in regards to the UAP phenomenon or the UFO phenomenon, which is way more widespread than just the physical craft, it would blow their minds. I mean, if you believe in the possibility of a secret space program, you got to understand something. I was in the military, and when the military makes something, they always make 2. So if NASA made a space station, do you think there's a possibility there's a second one?
Possibility.
So there could be a second one on the other side of the Earth in geostationary orbit, so we don't see it, right?
Sure.
So if that's the case, if we have a space force, couldn't that be soft disclosure for actual secret space program?
Sure. It's the breadcrumbs.
For a long time. I really believe it is, but it's my assumption. I'm speculating, but it's based on a lot of testimony from a lot of people that I've spoken to who have been in high positions that have actually made contact with people that actually claim to have been there and have actually dug into the declassified CIA files and found documentation to prove that what they were saying was fact. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is, if you consider that the secret space program may exist and that we had supposedly 8 interstellar cylinder vehicles in operation as of 1984. Think about that. If that's the case, and they were all built in space so that you wouldn't know about it, I wouldn't know about it. And NASA is just a public front using conventional spacecraft to waste our tax dollars when where's the 650 billion going that's going missing all the time? That's going, I believe, into the secret space program or something like that, okay, where they're developing reverse engineered vehicles from actual crashes that they have recovered. There is so much evidence leading to the possibility that that is truth rather than falsehood, that it's amazing, and that's what I'm digging into.
There was a crash. There was a UFO crash in '92 in South Haven Park. It's near my house. And people said that they saw something come out of Brookhaven Labs, like something shot up and knocked it down.
Mm.
I don't know. I wasn't there. I was young at the time, but I remember the buzz around it, and everyone in that neighborhood said that the military, and there's no military around, but they said they imploded on that place like within minutes. And so
it's like they were tracking it. Yeah,
something to that effect. But so basically what I was told was like since then, like that's when like they found the transistor, I guess, is there's a story that they found the transistor that day, and that's how like our technology started to like speed overnight. Like, because remember the TVs just have a big box in the
96.
back.
They actually found the original integrated circuit in the Roswell crash.
Oh, maybe that was it. Maybe I'm mixing this two stories together because
they found the integrated circuit, monofilament cable, and the visor that connected the one of the dead aliens to the vehicle, and that's how they developed night vision.
Oh,
so we got night vision, cable TV with monofilament cable, and your technology behind your cell phone. The way the screen lights up is actually based on reverse engineered alien technology.
Right.
And that's been proven.
Do you think these crashes are on accident or on purpose?
I think some are on purpose. I think some are by accident because Roswell, the one outside Roswell in Corona, was said to have been two vehicles that hit each other because they were flying over, and there was a Doppler radar in use back then, and the Doppler radar interfered with their propulsion, knocked them out of the sky, and they crashed into each other. One crashed outside Corona, and one outside Aztec.
Okay.
The only reason Roswell's famous is not for a crash; it's for handling the debris and the bodies. Everybody thinks Roswell was the famous Roswell crash. Roswell didn't have a crash.
It was up the road, wasn't it? That's just the nearest base.
It was near Corona, New Mexico. Yeah.
Well, they couldn't say Corona because that shit was coming later.
Somebody said, "Shut up! You're getting ahead in the playbook."
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Tim. Circling back, we had a question. Where did you see the string of lights? What location were you at?
Oh, I saw it over Winona, Minnesota. That's southeastern Minnesota. I saw it from a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, you saw
looking out over Lake Winona, which is part of the Mississippi River that has been cut off. And it was at about 8:45 at night. The sky was still bright, and there was sun out, and it was a blue sky, and that's where I saw it. Yeah.
What time?
And it wasn't just me; it was my whole family. It was 8 of us.
What time of year was that?
July.
Yeah, that part of the country stays dark till 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Had somebody else mention that they saw a Bigfoot coming out of, it's Scarborough. Hey, large basketball sized blue orb 25 feet away.
Yeah, it's close.
The Bigfoot then morphed out of the large blue orb.
I personally think it would be really cool to see that, actually.
And,
so I wonder what the color difference is, because
that's a good question.
I've seen green and white, and the green one that I saw was identical to the one you saw, or the one in the video.
Yeah, well, I've seen ones that I've seen a white one once that was like dancing, like, and I was like, there's got to be somebody in there with like doing like some guy on ecstasy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, I was on my moped and I'm filming this shit, and the light turned green and the people behind me, I'm like, forget it. I'm like, screw everybody. I'm like, I gotta figure this out, and like, people are getting pissed, and I'm like, fuck, like I gotta go. So I turned back around after I made the video, or whatever. This is a couple of years back, but I turned back. I went in the woods. I'm like, there's gotta be somebody in there just tripping, and there was nobody.
If he was in there, he's getting slammed against the wall.
Yeah, you remember? But you remember back in like the 90s, like you could go in the club and there was like somebody doing glow sticks, like.
Yes.
You know what it was? It was those death sticks from the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
Any death sticks? My death sticks.
Yep. I've actually seen a green orb fly up from the ground in a farmer's field and fly the full width of my car windshield and go off into space.
Oh, see, so that you got to like see, that's what I mean. Like I could never like compartmentalize an orb as something, you know, like because there's so many. You even hear about them with like hauntings, like people go, what's his name? He's here, wreaking havoc. Like he has orbs all over his house, you know. And like I don't think they're Sasquatch related, but he has orbs all over the place, you know. So what are they? I don't know. Do they have different meaning? Maybe, you know.
I think when you refer to an orb as a UFO, it's more of a sphere rather than an orb. An orb is more of a light phenomenon, whereas a sphere could actually be a solid object that's glowing from within. I actually was with 12 people in 2010 in Chatfield, Minnesota, and I was watching TV at about 6 o'clock at night, watching the news. I was actually watching the weather. And my girlfriend says, Tim, come outside. I said, why? She said, there are UFOs flying around out here. I said, really? And at that time, you know, I was still a little skeptical, even though I wanted to believe it.
Sure.
I went outside, and over the funeral home, 50 feet away, next door across the alley street, was 6 objects. They were evenly spaced. They were rectangular in shape with rounded corners. And on the inside, it looked like living fire. It was burning on the inside of these objects, and it was orangish fire. And the reference I can give to you is, if you remember the movie Independence Day and you see the ship breaking through the atmosphere and it's on fire, that's what it looked like on the inside of these objects. Okay. But it was completely contained within each rectangle. Now, there were 6 of them evenly spaced in a horizontal line. Okay. Above our funeral home, about 50 feet away and about 500 feet up. I know it was 500 feet up because when I was watching the weather, they said we had a 1,000-foot cloud cover. And we were looking at these objects, and they were halfway between the ground and the clouds. So 500 feet up, 50 feet away, these things were at least the size of, say, a Cadillac each. Wow. Okay? And maybe 10, 20 feet. Okay? Wide. And the second one in from the left was tumbling end over end. Okay. This group of lights moved off to the right as a group, keeping their positions. Stopped, came back to the left, stopped, went back to the right, stopped, took off towards Spring Valley, which was about 40 minutes away from where I live. So maybe 50 miles. Turned into a pinprick of light. We saw it. And then all of a sudden, right in front of us. Locked position and sat there for 25 minutes. Wow. We all tried to film it. We had our digital cameras out. We had our screens up. You know, we were looking at the objects in our screen, on our view screen on the backside of the cameras. So we thought we were getting the footage, and we were going, oh God, we got it on film. We got it on film. But after they left, we checked our cameras, and all our footage was distorted. It was all like grainy electrical lines. You know, there was no image at all. So whatever we saw would not let us record it. But that made the paper. And then 2 days later, a guy in Spring Valley, toward where these objects had gone, had recorded it with a Sony Handycam, one of the old ones, and it came up on his tape, and it was featured on KTTC Channel 12 News, which is NBC out of Rochester, Minnesota. So it is in the archives there. So if anybody ever wants to look it up, look up KTTC, Channel 12 News, Rochester, Minnesota. Look in their archives for a UFO sighting over Spring Valley, Minnesota. That's all you got to look for. And you'll see what I saw, because it was exactly the same thing.
Your description was pretty vivid, man. Like that was awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could see it. I could see it right now.
Yeah, and it was so amazing. You know, I wasn't scared. I was like, wow, what the heck is that? I want to get closer. The other people were like, no, Tim, back away, get away from them. I said, no, I want to go over by them. And they said, no, you don't know what it's going to do. It might take you or something. So you see, people do believe in abduction because they think these objects may interact with us and take us. Okay? They do believe it. They have an innate fear. 7 of the 12 people were adults. The other 5 were kids. Those kids were so traumatized, we had to have them sleep together in a conference room in our apartment building with a locked door and the shades down that night in sleeping bags, because they were so traumatized by what they saw. They thought it was going to land, or one of them was going to come back, and something was going to come get them. Yeah. So that was one of the major sightings I've had. Yeah.
So have you had contacts with those kids since? Like, are they still talking about it?
I did contact them like 5 years later, and they were okay with it then. They were just talking about it, you know, sharing it. But Chatfield is not a town that is accepting of the phenomenon. Because they're old school way of thinking. So it's kind of like very Christian based city. So it's like, if it isn't from God, then it's not real.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, they tried to blow it off as fireworks. And I said,
fireworks?
Well, it's not fireworks. Fireworks don't stay in position for 25 minutes.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking, you know, like you'll probably have people say Chinese lanterns and stuff, but I mean, it disproves everything that we know, like everything that it did. Sometimes I think they do, like, sometimes I wonder if these things do things like that, like to prove that they aren't, like, you know what I mean? Does that sound crazy?
Right.
I feel like they do like everything in the gambit to like prove that. Almost like prove that they aren't something of ours.
Well, do you realize, let's say this, okay? You know, in abduction scenarios, people are given screen memory, so they don't see what they're actually seeing. So perhaps what we saw wasn't really what was there, and maybe it was something else, and we weren't given the true memory. You know what I mean? So it's very hard to know what we were looking at. Yeah. But what I saw changed my worldview. We are not alone. There's something going on. And I believe because we cannot see in the total light spectrum, there's stuff all around us and we don't see it.
Yep.
What do you think, Glenn?
I agree with you on the light spectrum. I agree 100%. I think that's how come a lot of people don't see the things that are around us. And getting back to your screen memories, what you're talking about, I've heard that from multiple people, and from people who've had experiences. I know one time out in the woods, we have an area we researched that has both Bigfoot and ET. And this camp, well, I'll call it a camp, but the base site we usually go to, we've all driven there hundreds of times. And one time, one of the guys was driving to it and with another person, and 20 minutes are going down the forest road, and they're like, everything looks the same. And then they realized they were almost out of gas. And so they had to turn around and go back, and never found or made it to the base camp. And it turned out later that when they came right back the way they came, they were just 15 minutes away, but for the whole time they'd been driving and driving and driving. I left that camp and in my old Jeep, and I left at night. And when I went to, I always reset my GPS. I always reset it had recorded the top speed and the mileage. And my Jeep at some point in time obtained 206 miles an hour. And I traveled over 1,000 miles. So
that's possible. I've heard of time slips. So that could very well have been something like that. I mean, you've heard about that pilot that was flying and he flew from like LA to New York in a matter of an hour and a half in a regular twin prop engine plane. Oh, wow. How does he do that without going through some type of accelerated time distortion? Because he said he flew through something, then all of a sudden he saw the New York airport.
Wow.
Is that the same kind of phenomenon as the Bermuda Triangle, guys?
Yeah, it took him like 15 minutes. Yeah, it's exactly right, Bobby.
I have a Bermuda Triangle story. So I was a flight medic, and we traveled Learjets, and we would often get called to come out to pick up trauma patients in Bermuda. And what was that? What was that, Bobby?
I was saluting cosmic neighbors.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I didn't mean to distract you. I forget you can see me.
Got old shiny over here. And so anyhow, we had just a routine normal flight. The pilots had commented how that when we were approaching Bermuda, no one was talking on the radio to them. And they're like, the lights are off at the airport. I mean, literally all the runway lights were off. And luckily they'd landed it, I don't know, bunches of times so they could do it in the dark, but it was still a safety issue. We get on the ground, and as soon as we touch down, all of our phones start going off and going crazy. And it's our dispatchers, it's our corporate headquarters. Bermuda or New York had lost contact with us. We had dropped off the radar, couldn't find us. Bermuda had lost contact with us. We dropped off of the radar, couldn't get in touch with us. They had other passing vessels try and hail us on the radio. No success. They'd already dispatched the FAA and Coast Guard and had called the family. They were bringing in the people from our company to contact family members because they thought we were lost. Wow. And they were like, where were you? What happened? The pilots were like, it was a regular flight. Nothing happened besides when we got here, the lights weren't on.
They done went to phase 2 on their guidebook for y'all.
Yeah, they're like, yep, they're done.
So maybe you actually traveled back in time a little bit and saw the island before it had the actual airport on it. And then when you landed, it changed back. Because that would make sense. That would make sense if you were disappeared off radar.
Yeah, we were out of radio contact according to New York because the pilots, I'm not sure what kind of paperwork they have to do, but they had to do a ton of paperwork. So, yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, we were sleeping in the back of the jet the whole time, so never knew a thing.
Guys, I gotta let you know I gotta head out, but I just wanted to say hi and stop by. Bob, I will come by sometime and hang out for your whole live stream. Okay?
Yeah. We'll have you on as a main guest one day. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Well,
thank you, sir.
Happy Thanksgiving, Randy. Happy Thanksgiving. Talk to you later. Take care, guys.
Thank you, man. Brother.
Bye.
Celebrity guest today, folks. That was insane.
It was good stories.
Yeah, you know when you talk about the Bermuda Triangle, they kind of bait you in. Just kind of throw it out there like the methane thing that sinks the ships.
Hmm.
Like I can buy that all day. But what about all the stories like dude going from Tampa to Jamaica or wherever it was in like 20 minutes? Or that flight from, what was the flight? Close Encounters that it opened with? They found all the airplanes. Oh, like how did those things happen?
Yeah. And where do the planes go there? Yeah, and planes that just go missing off radar. How is that possible? I mean, in our technology. So.
Yeah, radar is not something that you can just say, we're not going to do that right now. It's like spraying something with a hose pipe and it decides not to get sprayed anymore. It doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, it definitely give us a weird feeling. So every time we go back, we would joke about that. So we're like, "Hey, you were lost in the Bermuda Triangle." I'm like, "Well, I'm glad we came out the other side."
That's almost like something, a tagline you could put somewhere.
I would have it put in my resume.
Yeah, man. If like when you get
I'm
in those
telling you
awkward
like
meetings,
I'm telling you like this: if I get stuck in traffic,
like my band went to the damn Rose Bowl one time, and I tell everybody that I'm like, I can't imagine actually something good happening to me, something significant. That's 30 years ago.
That's pretty significant.
I mean, it was. My cousins make fun of me. You might know my cousin. He went to the Rose Bowl. I'm like, shut up. I didn't get to this comment before Tim left, but Girl Friday says she saw the same thing in the Walmart parking lot. Who was it that said? I think Wild Tree. It was John Russell. That's right. He said he saw the UFO in the rainstorm chasing him around the parking lot. Wild Trees is on that one. I thought it was Glenn for a second. I almost asked you about it, and I'm glad I didn't.
Was that on my show? Was that on your show?
It was one of ours.
I mean, John. Yeah, I think it was yours. Yeah.
I think it was right before he got off with mine and came over to yours. He started talking about it.
Okay.
Like, oh, you're just going to mention that in passing?
I wanted to mention something about the orbs. So we talked to Randy Bauer, and he saw orbs that he believes were Bigfoot. He saw them come out of a portal. But one detail he said that was very interesting was that, okay, he saw the orbs, 2 orbs come out of a portal, and he was pretty sure they were Bigfoot. But what he said was interesting was that as the orbs moved, he could hear the footsteps of the Bigfoot underneath the orb, which was interesting. So it's like, even though the Bigfoot is an orb, it's still displacing the ground. It's still pushing on the ground. So I'm not sure if that means that it only appeared as an orb. It technically wasn't an orb. It was just looking like an orb.
No, it might be that that's a specific message that he was meant to pass out to us. You know what I mean? Like that's an important detail, or, like sometimes it's personal. I'm just speculating from my opinion, but like sometimes like I think like we all get a little piece to the puzzle, and they want us to work together.
That makes sense. It seems like you, Mike, you have like one more notch into the Bigfoot's world of trust than Randy does. Like they still give him lots of stuff, but it seems like you get like the next level. He's always worried about that.
Yeah, there's always there's like the Robin McCrae who like is like 10 levels above me, and the Brian Blands, and like they've got like it's amazing. Like every time I think I've got a lot going on, like I meet somebody who's like like just basically just I don't want to downplay it, but I guess if I have more time, like I'm retired and I don't even have any time, but because of my kids. But I think a lot of it has to do with getting into that right headspace, and then 90%. 90% of my day is just like chaos, chasing the kids in circles. So until I can kind of get out there, I can't really find that proper release and, that proper vibration, if you will.
So, Randy was saying he saw the Northern Lights. Sorry about that. I was reading a comment.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I was going to say, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm pretty sure I've had a lot of reverse Bigfoot sightings. So what I mean by that is that I worked as a biologist. I was working with the United States Parks and Wildlife Service in this national preserve in Texas, and I was doing surveys. So I spent, days, weeks of my life deep in the woods, and this is a Bigfoot hotspot. So although I never saw Bigfoot, I'm fairly certain a lot of Bigfoot saw me working in those woods, because I think about that sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, they're everywhere. They're everywhere and anywhere, like, and it's just a matter of, the where I had my first encounter, and I found out later it wasn't, but that was the first one for me, like, technically. The other ones, just I wasn't able to process it. But I had walked those woods for 5 years. I mean, 5-6 years just walking the same exact trail. And whether something was happening or not, whether I was being watched or not, but I didn't know nothing, not a damn thing, you know. And boom, until they wanted me to know, I didn't know.
How many? I know you talked to a lot of people that do that have the encounters. How many families do you think there are that have the multi-generational contact, like out in the mountains and the hills? You think that's frequent, or is it like 1 in a million?
I don't know if I understand.
Well, so like growing up, you know, I've always been kind of in and out of this topic. So it's something I've always perked my ears up when I heard it. You always heard of a families like Appalachians and the Rockies and any Ozarks. It'd be like families that live on 200-300 acres that they've had it since Christopher Columbus came over. And and everybody knew about the Bigfoots on their place, but nobody talked about them. And I just wonder how densely populated those groups are.
Well, I knew about a guy in Michigan, and he's the 3rd generation on his land. I can, and his dad and his grandpa never spoke a word about it, but they've been walking around the whole time. And they don't. The part I think is most amazing is they don't do that, like hide and this and that and cloaking and orbs. They just walking around like just flesh and blood, just do. Not, they just don't worry about it because they own all that land. They just kind of just do whatever they do, and they know it's just them and them, like just the homeowner and them, and that's it. So I mean, I don't know. Like if I was in the middle of nowhere, I probably wouldn't have the only reason we all kind of know about these things now is because of the internet. But I guess if you lived in the sticks, you wouldn't really, the internet wouldn't be your priority.
Yep.
I think that a lot of them are coming out of the woodwork. No pun intended. Lately, if I had my perfect podcast subject, I'm talking all we talked about, it would just be those kind of people that haven't had. But maybe there's only like 6 whole in the United States, but I've heard of 2 or 3 before.
Yeah, I've got a couple in Tennessee.
Grizzly's told me about a couple of them. I'm like, gimme.
You know who you remind me of? You remind me of this guy. I think his name is Josh. He's got multiple podcasts, but him and his wife have one. His wife has one. He has his own one. His is Lights Out podcast, and they do one called Mile Higher. But you remind me of the husband a lot. Like you, very very similar. Like your demeanor, the way you just you chase your. They do different types of things, but like he says, like he loves doing like the missing 411s and the Bigfoots and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but everything takes you down that rabbit hole and then takes you in different directions and you kind of end up zigging and zagging and like you kind of have to touch on different things because it just gets so crazy. Yeah,
I'd have all kinds of general anxiety if I just had one niche. I tried that. I was like, well, I want to talk about this too. Yeah, I follow Lights Out podcast too, though.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah. He needs a co-host now.
Look out.
Hey, Bobby, have you contacted any of those families that are multi-generational?
I've only had like mention of them from people like Grizzly. Because he knows lots of people, but once I get my foundation here, I'll start doing stuff like that, like getting in the weeds and get a Rolodex. I'm basically still working on the basics of marketing and figuring out what I need to waste my time on.
Yeah,
but I would love to because I would talk to those people. I'm already ready to go to Minnesota in the spring, and I don't even know where Minnesota is, and so that's going to be a thing. Like it's not even in the SEC, so I don't know where it is.
I can't spell it.
I've been to Minnesota in February for a job interview, and the moment I got there, I knew I did not want to live there. It was so cold.
Yeah, Minnesota in February that's rough.
Yeah, and I'm from Ohio, so I'm used to cold, but not that cold.
Oh, you're in Grassman country. That's cool.
Well, I'm in North Carolina now, but I grew up in Ohio.
Oh, I don't want to say he's a buddy, but he does some stuff online. He's called Creature Preacher. He's an animal guy, but he just started getting into cryptids and stuff. I guess he's always been into it, but now he's kind of officially trickling over. Yeah, he's cool. He's really cool, dude.
I love me some Montana.
My wife lived there for many years.
That's one of the
I went into the big mall there, Mall of America, and I saw There Will Be Blood. So that was
cool.
a good experience. Yeah.
Really?
Did you go in a submarine? Don't they have a submarine in that mall?
I don't recall seeing a submarine. No.
Wow, that's cool though.
Yeah.
I know they have a roller coaster.
Well,
Yeah, they have a roller coaster.
well.
Ben Margera went there one time.
Oh yeah.
That's how old I am. Anybody's keeping score.
Yeah.
I still think that's a new show. So what do you mean? What do you mean he's in rehab? Nearly died. Well, what were you saying about Grassman a second ago? Was that a Minnesota, Ohio cryptid?
Yeah, it's what they call Bigfoot.
Oh,
yeah.
I think every part of the country has a different name for them.
I like the skunk ape the best. That's my favorite because it's basically just it stinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what they call them here in Texas and Florida.
Bit of a racial slur, or whatever.
Wood booger in Virginia.
Yeah, I've got the wood booger hat. John P. Adventure says, "Hey, wild trees." Mikey Mike he left Glenn out on purpose. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know.
No, he didn't. Here we
I'm
go.
the new guy.
Glenn, he put you on the second one.
Oh, okay. I'm the page 2 credits.
Controversy. the also rans.
I'm on like my cell phone screen, and like it's because there's so many of us. The pictures are so small, and the writing's so small, and I'm like I keep like getting, and then I like see my face like up close, and I'm just scaring myself.
Got Scarborough. Have to see the physical side and also the interdimensional realm of Sasquatch. I wonder if Sasquatch wants to be found because Wild Trees thinks that they only give you information that they want you to see, like the hair. They'll give you a hair. They'll give you a footprint.
Yeah, there's certain things they don't mind giving. They don't mind giving you the footprints and the hair. It seems like they don't care.
Yeah, no, I think they just give that stuff to people so they go away.
Yeah,
I'm dead serious. I really do. Like,
or some of them get sloppy, I assume. So
some people just settle. Like some people just settle for the basics, and I don't know. They probably go home and make fun of them. Like, you see that?
It's like somebody told me when I first went out in the woods. They said, "Just remember, we're their cable TV when we're out here. So as long as I'm not their Scooby snack, I'm good with it." So.
That's kind of how we are to the Amish. Like, oh, look
But
at
like,
English.
Somebody said it before. Like, there's no experts, and like it's true. Like there is no expert. Like nobody's walking around like with the ultimate knowledge. So that's the best attitude to have when you go out there. Is just that's my approach every single time. I just step out there. I step out with no agenda, with no preconceived ideas or notions or what I think I'm gonna do and find. I just say, hey, Bigfoot, universe, forest, woods, whatever. I'm here. I'm your student. Whatever you want to give me today, I appreciate you. And I show respect. I show care for the area, like as if it's their home, which it is. Come bearing gifts. That's a Sicilian thing anyway. You don't show up at nobody's house without nothing. You don't come empty-handed. So it's kind of
people who say that they're experts are either naive or arrogant. Because one thing I learned going through school, as I gained more and more knowledge, I realized how much more there was that I didn't know than I do know. And it really, kind of wakes you up to that.
Yeah, there's two things you could do with information. You could bottle it up and sell it, or you could just pass it out for free because you want everybody to be, to benefit from it, and that's it. There's only two options, or you could keep it to yourself because you're whatever. That's a different story for your own personal reasons. But there's those some people that bottle it up and they want to keep it and harness it and act like they're the best, and for whatever reason, right? Like I said, ego. Some of it's money, some of it's like a little bit of fame, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I try not to focus on them, but it happens.
Has anybody like you ever gotten rich off of it though?
Yeah, I mean, you get your people who get like to become like they have a certain title and like status, so of course they get to probably keep going to conferences or things like that where they probably make money. I don't think so though. I mean, I don't know about anybody getting rich, but what the hell do I know? I don't focus on that though, so I don't really know. I mean, there's a few guys who charge money for people to go out. Like, other than gas money, the woods are free, So I'm not charging somebody to go in the woods, like I don't get it. But
there are groups that do charge you to take you on tours, and then there's also people who get into this that want to do the speaking thing. I mean, had I not been lured into my first podcast or YouTube thing, I probably never would have come out and talked about a lot of this stuff. So, but they're out there. Whether they went in with that intention or not, I still think there's some that, and then there's a lot of people that embellish things too. So,
sure, yeah, sure, yeah.
Going back to the. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm good.
Okay. I was going to say, going back to the expert thing, I think there is one subcategory of expert as far as Bigfoot and UFO, but that would be like a UFO history expert or a UFO Bigfoot expert, because there is historical material like accounts, and you can become an expert, but that's different than saying you're an expert on Bigfoot. You're an expert on the reports of Bigfoot or the history of the legends. Yeah.
Well, in those cases, there's finite amount of material. So
exactly.
You can all that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Jeff Meldrum is an expert on Bigfoot. He's an expert on Bigfoot footprints, right? I mean, people might argue that statement, but the guy's been doing it for such a long time. Like I might consider Ron Moorhead an expert, like as far as like certain things. I don't know, I don't throw the word around, but I mean, there are people out there that are worthy of like maybe a title for certain areas, but is it important? I don't know. Not to me, really. Like, I don't even call myself a researcher because like I don't know if I'm researching. I'm doing my thing, I'm trying to build relationships and this and that. Like, I'm the guy who, I'll be like, that footprint's not really. I passed up footprints and didn't cast them, and I regret it now to an extent, but like, there's some people who would have did that, cast that, and that would have made their whole day in life, and that would have been it for them. But to me, like, I try not to be greedy on any level so that they'll give me more later, like we could just continue to form a bond and a relationship and a long-term relationship.
I think one of the reasons it's difficult to use the word expert in studies of like Sasquatch, Bigfoot, is like so much of it's just you can't know for sure. You have an idea, you can get information, but you don't really 100% know. So in that case, it doesn't even make sense to say expert. Now, if you're talking about footprints or something like that, then that's something you can see, you can touch, you can identify. You know it, but most of it you just can't know for sure.
It's all hypothesis
all the time, but that's it. It's an idea. It's an hypothesis. Wow,
they're all hypotheses. We don't have any hard. We don't have any hard information to be experts on. We just have a bunch of hypotheses.
We're like hypotho wild trees. I've been going after different guests for this show, just for Bigfoot. And the minute I see their flesh and blood only, I'm like, well, we're done here. You're no fun. I could talk about that to myself. Like I'm not like wild trees, and I won't
I wonder if there are.
Go ahead, there.
I was going to say, I wonder if there are. I just wonder, because they're reported all over the world. I wonder if there are some subpopulations that are simply flesh and blood. I'm not saying all of them, but I wonder if there are some subpopulations somewhere in the world that are simply relic hominids, old hominids that have been around for millions of years.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Yeah, it's very possible.
You have to be way out there.
That just goes again to show that way. Like that's as good a possibility as anything. You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's just.
Had somebody tell me there's no evidence Bigfoot are interdimensional. Bitch, there's no evidence there's Bigfoot. What are you talking about?
Someone once told me there's more pictures of Bigfoot than there are of God, and I was like, I have to think about that.
Maybe.
You
That's how
know,
that one works.
I try to use this as like a reference. Like, you could have people like experience the same thing. Same thing. Everyone could experience the same thing, but you won't get the same. You won't get the same answer from everybody. There's millions of people that believe in heaven, but it's not the same for each one of those millions of people. Heaven is different to each person. So you could have people come back and not that they're embellishing it or they're it's just perception. You know what I mean? Like if Sasquatch throws a rock at me and then throws a rock at this guy, I'll be like, oh, that was cool. Like that was kind of funny. And he might think it tried to kill him. You know what I mean? So like you get these stories and you kind of have to decipher who the person is telling the story and the encounter or the experience before you could kind of get the real gist of what happened.
Yeah.
I could just picture like a Karen throwing her phone up, calling the police. Sasquatch Karen.
Yeah.
He tried to kill me.
He's in my chicken coop.
The Karens can't have chicken coops at their HOA though.
No.
Yeah. All right, mailbox. He's in my mailbox.
Take a brick off my mailbox.
So, Mike, how close to civilization do you think they get? Do you think they are just out in the woods, or do you think they're in the suburbs?
Oh, they're in the suburbs because that's where I started. Yeah, they're all up in here. Now it's a map. I can't talk for. I've only been in certain places, so I don't like to make blanket statements across the world. I don't know if they're in suburbs across the world. I don't know. Like I can't possibly say, but I know they're here. That's for sure. I had my experience in the suburbs. It butts up against the suburbs. I'll say that. So it was on like federal meets private, public meets private. Like it's a weird scenario where I had that encounter, but I wish I could be more detailed, but it just worries me about talking about it.
It just sort of hit me that you and majority of the people I've had on the show that have sightings of Bigfoot all are next to federal and state land.
Yeah,
that just hit me. I'm like, holy shit!
Well, I got
even
this,
the one in Huntsville's from the Arsenal.
Yeah, I got this. I got this theory about that. Like, why is it, or preserves and reserves like the Indian reservations, but for the Sasquatch, and then are they just saved land that they left for Sasquatch? Because like it's not areas you're allowed to walk on usually. These preserves or reserves, whatever. And then I wonder if the state land is like, or national parks and things, if they're hot spots, and that's why they close them. They pick those places so they could close them at night so they could monitor them. So again, it's just a theory, but just something I bounce around here and there.
I mean, anything's possible. Could be dual usage.
Yeah.
Glenn, you were the Fort Belvoir guy, weren't you?
Yep. I'm just right up against the military base.
I just said that talking to the other person that told me about that. Forgot all about that Alabama white thing. That came off the Talladega National Forest.
Yeah.
Or was it Bankhead?
It was Talladega.
Yeah.
Might have been Will Ferrell.
Yeah, could have been. He was down there.
He was just all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
I got the Mountain Dew.
I think we talked about this last time.
Mountain Dew.
Wild Trees, remember on one of your early episodes, you were going over a story and it was about Bigfoot with those kids, and they were on the second floor of the house and they had scratch marks on the outside of it. And that was in the suburbs too, wasn't it? It was in Ohio.
I don't know. I think Wild Trees may be at a drive-through. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
I heard him talking to someone and it went on like
No, I'm back. I just got home, so I switched Wi-Fi networks, but I'm good.
y'all have 2 chicken sandwiches.
I was asking you, remember that article that you talked about on one of your early episodes about Bigfoot in Ohio? And there was a group of kids at a house, and on the second floor there were marks outside the house. Wasn't that, I mean, that was suburb, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was what the crazy part was. Yeah, and yeah, that episode. Yeah, you could also see the satellite imagery. But yeah, that was just well, it was interesting because it was completely suburb, but there was a large tract of woods right behind the house. I mean, it wasn't huge, but yeah, that was very suburban areas, which makes me wonder. I don't know, because there might be a creek. Because if there's a creek that because I think waterways are a big, transportation method for Bigfoot. So it could be if a creek starts off in the wilderness and it goes all the way into a big city, it could be that a Bigfoot follows it all the way there.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think my thing boils down to that though, that water is like a really good conduit.
Scarborough said that Sasquatch can visit you in your home, and
Absolutely.
Mike, you were telling me if you don't go to the woods come to you.
Absolutely.
That's
they've been making contact with my family lately. Whatever. I don't know if I should talk about this yet, but because I kind of promised some people I would save the conversation. But they made contact with my 1-year-old daughter with items, and then with my wife recently too. So it's pretty amazing. I've seen it done. Huh?
Does that creep you out at all when they do that? It's kind of like showing, like when the mobster shows you pictures of your kids going to school, kind of thing.
It's so like, it's so playful. It's so playful. Like it's so playful and peaceful. Like the best way I could describe it is like a peaceful poltergeist. Like it's like weird poltergeist type activity. Like shit appearing, shit disappearing, like stuff coming out of thin air, like that. But like, it's so peaceful, like playful, like oh, here's a feather, here's a marble, here's a rock, like, you know what I mean? It's like, where did that come from? Like, it's like stuff like that. It's just
I guess it's got to be in that mindset of if something bad could have happened, it would have happened already.
Yeah.
I get somebody all the time that just asks me like, hey, like, be careful, like I can't help but the feeling that they're like gearing you up for something, and I'm like, I'm not like a pig that they're fattening me up for the slaughter. Like it's I agree, if it was gonna happen already, they wouldn't have came and saved me, went out of their way to save me on occasions to I don't know. I just know that's not the case, but I get people's reluctance because there's so much fear of the unknown. That's what I think a lot of it is fear of the unknown. But if you can let that guard down, it's really beautiful. It really is. For me.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the abduction stories. Like once people get over the initial shock, it's kind of a fun trip.
Yeah, you got, there's
probing. I mean, other than that,
but that's I mentioned the probing.
Yeah. But the probing was probably just a thing that they brought up back in the day to make people fear it, probably so they couldn't get in that right mind space and frequency and vibration. So like, so they can make contact. Like it's my opinion, but it's.
Now, I don't believe that every one of the, we'll say Bigfoot, but I don't know if that's the right word, but things out there is friendly. I think there's also unfriendly things too.
That's
the thing that I get from a lot of people is they get this warm and fuzzy feeling. Well,
I mean, even God had a traitor in his midst. So like, I mean, there's no perfect anything. You know what I mean?
No.
So Jesus, sorry, but Yeah, no, I don't think they're all perfect, but I haven't bumped into the. That's not my journey yet. I have, it hasn't happened to me yet.
Mhm.
Hopefully it doesn't, but I haven't bumped into a bad Sasquatch. So
Yeah, and we had the going back to Randy in Minnesota and your random stuff placed. He came home and he locked his keys in his truck, or didn't have the keys to his house. Had to break into his own house.
Yep.
Did you hear that story?
no, I thought it was going to go a different way.
Oh well, it will. There is a twist to those of you who haven't listened to that episode. Wild Trees knows what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But he walks in and there's an ice cream sandwich melted, but the stick's on the other side of the room. And then he walks into his bedroom and something used the bathroom on his bed.
Yep.
Yeah, but his house was locked up tighter than Fort Knox. He said he had to break it in with a crowbar.
Wow.
And then he did it in his clothes hamper.
Wow.
I was like,
Well,
but nothing, no doors are open. It had
Well,
no clip in there.
what I was going to say is I had my truck was unoperable, like it wasn't working for a while.
Mhm.
And I was like, I finally found, I went in one day and I was like just cleaning it out, and I ended up locking my keys in the car, and it was one of those remote ones. I only had one of them, and it was locked in there for months. I just didn't give a damn because it was broke. Like it wasn't running. I didn't have a license. It was insured, whatever. So one day I'm out in the trails locally, not far. I'm walking. Like come out, and right at the trailhead. I mean, right at the trailhead in front of I was borrowing my mother's car at the time. Right in front, bing, between me and the car, is my key sitting there. And I'm like, there's no way this is. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. So I'm like, I'm like, should I take it? And I look around. There's nobody around. There's nobody there. Like that dropped it. I'm like, that's for me. I'm like, I could tell it's for me. I'm like, should I take it? I'm like, you know what? I'll take it home because it's not far. If it don't work, I'll just bring it right back because it's probably somebody else's. You can imagine, I kind of held it for a minute in front of that truck. I hit that thing and it unlocked.
Wow.
Where I knew they were, where that key was not there anymore. Where I knew I dropped it, it was not down there. So how did it magic its way that particular day out of that truck all the way to hell over there, right in my path? And I don't know if I ever told that story. But
you should take that story and make it into, like, you know how people do the animation story? Like
yeah.
the shorties watching shorties stories back when we were little.
Yeah. I don't know how to.
Dude, that's just. I may clip
I
that
don't know how
out.
to do anything.
I may
know how to
post it
do
on
anything.
TikTok. You may get me 10,000 views on TikTok with that one.
I don't even know how to make my videos public on TikTok. I'm still private. Everyone's like, make them public. I'm like, oh, how? People are like, send you an invite. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I should probably take a step back and become like a behind the scenes guy for some of y'all.
Yeah.
Because some of you are good at this on the front end things. I'm good at the technical thing because I've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We could use you.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm trying to build mine up to a certain respectable level, where I know sort of the ins and outs to get somebody to maybe where you are, just real kind of in a quickness. Kind of sell that to somebody, some little rich kid that wants to get their dog's podcast off the ground. Yeah, I'll do it for $300,000 real quick. Anyhow.
Well, I mean, even still, like, something I've been trying to get done is like, I want to take a separate camera and do some filming and stuff. Scotty, there you are. I wanted to take. What is he saying? Oh no, I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about that shit. I think we talked about it last time, didn't we?
I think you mentioned something about it.
Yeah,
raking skinwalkers. Was that the deer?
Oh, that's another freaking nasty mother. I'm not going in there again. There's most things I go through. I try to go back. Yeah, I'm not going in there no more. I don't want to. I can't shake that damn thing.
It's all fun and games till the deer stands up on its hind legs, opens the garbage cans with his front feet.
But he wasn't just no deer. Like he looked like Master Splinter, but taller and like nails and I don't know, nasty, just nasty. I don't even. It wasn't nothing.
your veil's all the way off. You don't have any muffler. There's no telling what you see that you just don't pay attention to.
Oh, I have to kind of put on blinders sometimes. Like, I can't even look in the tree line when I drive. Like, I gotta I'm like get distracted.
It's probably kind of like Jennifer Love Hewitt on what's that, Ghost? What was that show with her, Ghost? Oh hell, she would see the ghost everywhere.
What? What do you want?
Is that a dog?
All right, I gotta go tend to this mutt. What?
Yeah, you can.
What?
You've served your purpose and way more. I didn't realize I'd have an actual good podcast tonight. Now I feel bad. I gotta redo the thumbnail and the title before I share it.
All right, friends. It was nice to meet some of you and some of you that I met already. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Mike.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
All right,
Have a
guys.
happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll holler soon, Mike.
All right, brother.
See ya.
See ya.
All right. Well, the show's gone downhill because you just left with me.
This one took a major dump.
Yeah, that's it. Your fan base just left, so.
Hey, your stories are pretty good too. The one where you saw what was the one called at Belvoir?
Mount Vernon Monster.
Mount Vernon. I kept wanting to call it the Montauk Monster. I'm like, it's no way it's at Belvoir.
Yeah, no.
That was insane. I need to post everybody's videos because everybody did me a solid. And now I'm sitting on them. Because all of a sudden everybody wants to do live all of a sudden. Which I have to admit is way more fun.
What's the next episode you're going to post, Bobby? And when are you going to post it?
You're in it, buddy. Welcome to the podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe. This is it. I think I was going to do Matt Fisher or Anthony tomorrow before I came up with the idea for this. And if it materialized, I was going to save it for another week. So since this actually materialized into something, I may save it. But either Anthony or Matt Fisher. I've got Preston Dennett, David Parker, who's the other Bigfoot guy. I keep forgetting about David. Randy was so good, I forgot about David Parker, who was my favorite for the longest. Like, Randy was so good. I'm saving David Parker for my first episode of the year, though.
Okay.
And then the next one from that's Preston Dennett. Like, I'm hitting it hard. Like, it's getting the big names right off the bat.
Yeah, that Preston Dennett's going to get you some legs. It's going to have some legs on it.
I'm saving it for after David Parker when I got kind of some buzz. When I got like a throwaway episode with that Glenn Jackson guy. He's going to be on there.
Yeah.
But Glenn was pretty good. Did you go on Wild Trees afterwards?
No, he never invited me. So I didn't even get a friend request.
I think that was before. I think that was before Wild Trees was doing that.
Yeah, sorry. I'll have you on, buddy.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
That's weird. I'm evolving the way I'm doing things so fast that people are way behind. The episodes I did at the beginning, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense why I did that anymore. Strategies in them.
Well, we're hoping to do our show coming up probably in about 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. So we have
a guest or a recurring. I'll come on there. I'll be a color commentate all day. I like to do. I'll do 3 or 4 of these a week if I can, just to get my chops.
Yeah, that was one thing I said. I wasn't up for more than one a week. I didn't think so.
I mean, you can do more than one a week, but only posting more than one a week's the thing.
Yeah, well, I want to the format I want to go with is a little bit more scripted, and we're obviously going to talk about all the cryptid stuff, but we're also going to do current events, the strange news, weird news. So we're going to kind of have a little mixed bag of everything. So I think I would like to try and at least stay on script for a little while before, but I'll end up being the one taking us off the rails, I'm sure. So.
Well, it'll happen. Once you get your format figured out, it'll materialize. If I hear a cat.
Yeah, one of my cats.
I thought I heard it a while ago. I thought it was one of Sarah's birds a while ago. I'm like, Sarah's not on here.
She's angry with me because I'm not in bed. I have an interesting story that's short.
Let's hear it.
My dad, he died January 8th, 2008. And he was an atheist, and my mom was a Catholic. And when they got married, they agreed to raise us as Catholics. So he died, and he told her that if he could contact her after he died, he knew he was going to die, that he would.
Mm-hmm.
So that was January 8th, and then their anniversary, it would have been their 50th wedding anniversary, October 8th. And they had 3 dogs, and those dogs on that day started howling and howling and howling. And above the door in the kitchen, there was a cruel embroidery thing that my mom had made the first year they were married. It won the blue ribbon in the county fair. And it was about 5 feet long and a foot tall. Well, while those dogs were howling, that cruel embroidery fell right off the wall. And it had been there for years and never a problem with falling. And so I always felt like it was my dad letting my mom know that, he was there.
Wow.
Were the dogs mentioned beforehand? I missed that part.
Were they mentioned?
Yeah, you said he did any way possible. Did he mention he was going to use the dogs?
No.
Okay.
He just said, like, if he could, he would. He didn't say how.
Okay, I was reading something when you said the first part.
Yeah.
Dang, I missed the.
But I was, that was like, it wasn't a thing that the dogs howled,
Mhm.
Ever. But all 3 of them and I checked to see if there was an earthquake. I had looked at USGS site just to be sure, because I thought, well, maybe that was something that could have happened to cause them to howl and for that to fall. But there wasn't any. So, I mean, I think that's pretty odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee
Definitely.
the presence like that would have caused dogs to go nuts.
Yeah, and then another
well
thing that
documented.
happened. Now I have a longer story to tell you guys once I find my notes on it. After my sister died in 2019, I was up there and I had to put my mom into the nursing home, and I was at the house there because they lived together, and I was going through every single paper in that house, deciding to throw it out, to recycle, to keep, whatever. It took me 2 weeks to go through the entire house. And my sister's son was there and his girlfriend. And at the time, it was just she and I cleaning. And I was in the kitchen and I turned, and in the hallway, I saw energy. It was a big rectangle, like a portal. It was like
Oh.
5 feet tall and maybe like 16 inches wide. And it almost looked like a cross between static and when you look down the road in the hot summer, you can see the energy waves in the road. It was like a
Yeah.
mix of those 2. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what's making this? And there is no window for like some light weirdness to come through. It was in the hallway. There was nothing there to cause it. And I literally stood there watching it for a solid 10 seconds, and then it disappeared. And I turned around to go tell my nephew's girlfriend, and as I was walking to find her, she came in from the laundry room, which was on the back side of the kitchen. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I've got to tell you what happened." She goes, "Oh, I'm coming to tell you what happened to me."
Ooh.
And I said, "What?" And she said that she felt like somebody poke her forehead. And it happened 3 times. She just felt like a push on her forehead. And then I told her about what I saw. And I think that's interesting that she felt that because my sister never liked her. And so I can imagine, her pushing, like poking her forehead or something. Yeah. So that was just crazy. And my sister always had sort of, I don't know, extrasensory perception, that kind of thing. Nothing too crazy, but she did. And when she first died, I went over to my friend Janet's, who's passed since then, but she was very much into the, alternative stuff, talking about, all that stuff that we see on these channels. And I went to go tell her about my sister, and she just kept telling me over and over, "Oh, your sister's fine. She's dancing out in the sky. She's walking on sunlight. She's walking on sunlight." She kept telling me that over and over and over. And I said, "Okay." And I left, got in my car, turned on, and the radio came on, and it was the Katrina and the Wave with that walking on sunlight song. And pretty much that's the verse that repeats over and over and over in the song, was exactly
Walking on Sunshine?
Yeah, Walking on Sunshine.
Walking on Sunshine.
And that's exactly what Janet just kept repeating to me. And so I felt like that was my sister telling me it was okay that she's, out walking on sunshine.
Wow.
Yeah. That's definitely something they do.
Yeah, and so then I went home to tell my mom and my sister's boy, and I got on my sister's computer to look it up on YouTube to show the song, and it came up, and you know how they change color when you've watched them?
Yes.
The title changes. Well, it had it had been watched before, and when my nephew heard it, he's like, "Oh, my mom, she's played that my entire life. She loved that song so much. She would periodically just play it." And so, yeah, that made me feel like even more so that it was her communicating to me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty. I bet that'll happen throughout your life now.
Yeah. And I'm kind of always like, being aware of my surroundings, just in case something does happen.
Right. That's good. Yeah. I recommend that. I recommend everybody always be ready for a paranormal thing to happen, so they don't
always be prepared.
Yeah.
Always be prepared. Yeah.
You ever practice the phone pull up? I've done it a time or two.
What's that?
Just like when you know how the new iPhones have the camera on the front, and you're like,
oh, okay. Yeah.
like I've got this back here, and I don't know if I always said I carry it with me when I do things, but you have to focus it like you're a military sniper if you're trying to take a picture of anything. Like, I don't know if it'd do any good. I'd have another blurry picture. I'm just a statistic at that point.
Yeah.
We'll draw a red circle around it.
Yeah. You can zoom in on a pixel. Zoom in on a picture of a leaf and say it's a Sasquatch looking obviously hidden in the woods.
I'm at the point where, like, if I had a paranormal thing happen, like I saw something in front of me, I saw something in the sky, something was talking to me, I don't think I would be focused on getting information, but it wouldn't be recording information. I would be observing, so I wouldn't be focused on recording it or getting a camera. I would be focused on engaging with it, keeping it with me as long as possible. And that's the kind of information I would record, because I feel like I would just waste my time fumbling. I would spoil the moment. Personally, that's what
Yeah.
And from what we've learned, the trying to get a picture of something is a waste of time, because there's never going to be one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I learned through talking to Bigfoot experiencers like Randy. I've learned that, first of all, if I'm really going to get information, I have to go there in person. And the other thing is that it's not going to be through recording anything. Like, I have to use my brain has to be the recording device, my eyes. And that's possible. Like I said, I gave the example, like if I wanted to do a behavioral experiment on a bird and I wanted to record how many times it bobs its head per second, like I could do that with a camera, and I could do it with a notebook and a paper, or I could just count it myself in my head. I could use my brain, because it seems like Bigfoot, they don't mind using your body. They're not shy about performing in front of you. It's the cameras they're shy about. Mm-hmm. It's the voice recorders. So that's something else I've been thinking about.
And because you do know that they don't like the cameras and such, all the more reason to not use it, to not try.
Exactly. It's like a respect thing. Yeah, it's like a respect thing. Yeah.
I think Randy said he's got like a DMZ and just like a line of demarcation where if he's over on that land next to him that's owned by the state, he can put cameras out. But if it's on his 40 acres, no cameras.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he
That
was
was
like,
hilarious.
yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, that's kind of our deal. I'm like, you have a deal?
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's like he's like, I don't give a shit what happens in that land. I'll do anything, but in my land, no.
He can go full blown Bobo over on the state land.
Yeah.
But on his place, it is a sanctuary, which is freaky because if you go over there and if you do like I bet if you do like a little bit of meditation, like I bet shit starts hitting the fan, which scares me.
Mm-hmm.
You end up getting your tree stand shaking. And
But why would that scare you? I mean, isn't that what you want to have?
But it still scare me. That still scare me a little.
I mean, but prepare yourself,
I'm jumpy. I am so spastic. I don't even like knowing when something's hot. If I'm watching a movie, I'll do this. And then I'll wait for the scare to happen, then I'll rewind it and watch it. On that same token with the Bigfoot and the technology, I got 2 points on that. Back when I used to hunt like it was my religion, I got an iPod for Christmas, and I thought this is going to change the game because I've got my media with me. Do you know, as long as I had that iPod with me, I never saw a deer. And as long as I listened to any podcast or anything on my phone while hunting, I never saw a deer. I don't understand how that works. I think like it emits something when I was playing the song, not when I had it with me, but
yeah, well, maybe they hear it, because they have to hear it.
It's weird. Yeah, I mean, it's just weird because it's just in your ear,
Yeah, but
and you got it kind of low, but I wonder, like, if it like on another spectrum, if it's just me sitting there blasting a loudspeaker.
Right. Yeah.
Like to a deer, it's just like wah wah, don't stop. That guy's over there listening to Freddie Mercury, or whoever that is. It's not Freddie Mercury. Journey. God, Steve Perry? Is that?
Yeah.
You're gonna get it eventually. Yes,
Ronnie Van Zant. Ronnie Van Zant.
Why do you think, in the case of Randy, that he can use cameras on the land next to his, but not his land? Why would that be?
Well, he actually told the story. He said, you want me to use cameras out here again? Give me a sign. They'd ripped his cameras off the trees and put trees on top of his cameras.
But why would that be?
It's a sign.
They made a sign, put a big X on top of it. I don't know. I guess just so they can establish trust with him.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
I really don't know. A lot of stuff we've seen has got trust base. Like you got Long Island Bigfoot. He had a brain injury before he started having the experiences. And so he's more in the weeds with it than Randy is. Like Randy's kind of phase 1. Like he can give them peanut butter and they'll eat the peanut butter. He can put a dice out there and they'll move the dice, and he'll have experiences. And he even had that time skip he talked about. But he hasn't gone the next level. He always talks about it. Like maybe you don't want to, man. Maybe you don't want to go next level with a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
We don't know what their next level is.
Yeah, it could be. Oh, I know what else I was thinking. Long Island just brought it up a while ago. I was going to bring it up when he was there, but he left. He was talking about, it was Tim talking about the big UFO sighting that was filmed, 8mm. He couldn't get it on his stuff. Like, what if there was some version of like, you know how steampunk? I know Wild Trees knows what steampunk is.
Yes.
It's like the alternate technology if we didn't have computer chips and stuff.
Yeah, it runs on steam. Yep.
Yeah, for some reason, girls wear top hats. That's another story. But like, what if there was like a steampunk version, of like film where digital didn't happen? It was just like a super duper version, and I bet we'd have some crazy paranormal stuff because it seems like the encounters almost went quality wise, just took a nosedive after everybody started using digital for video.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% am an advocate. If you are going to film paranormal stuff, you should do it with a physical film, whether it's a picture or a video. You should definitely do physical film. Yeah,
because I've got that high 8mm camera that if I go to Minnesota and see Randy, I think I'm going to try to fire it up.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
because it even has the night vision.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can go Blair Witch. Snot bubbles and all.
Yeah, get that snot bubble going. Get a big one.
just for the Academy. Oh, shit, I'm out of Mountain Dew. That's hilarious. Yeah, just the I had a friend. He's now like I think he went to film school. He wrote and we worked on a military test range. And there's a lot of downtime on a military test range. I don't know if you could imagine it, but it's basically like being in jail that you can leave every day. You just smoke cigarettes and play cards, and then every once in a while something happens. And he was an aspiring film student, but he was a retired Army. He was getting his retirement check, I think. He might have just been 4 or 5 years in. Anyway, he wrote a movie, and I can share it with y'all later. Did 2 of them, actually. We shot it on this range, and now he's I think he's an associate's director in Hollywood. He quit that job and changed careers entirely, divorced his wife, all kinds of fun stuff. But we would always go on Redstone Arsenal. There's a half a dozen slave graveyards out there. And he would always go to the stores and dig up old film cameras, and we go out there and take pictures, but we never got anything. I think we got 1 orb. He said, you don't even need to, he goes, don't even waste your time with digital on paranormal.
Yeah, they can just shut it. Oh, go ahead, Glenn. Go ahead.
I've heard that from so many people.
And who knew the disposable camera market and the peanut butter market were such a cottage industry for the paranormal? Like, I don't think Peter Pan understands how quintessential they are, or essential they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's funny because the movie Nope. If you guys saw Nope, I know Bobby saw it.
I just watched that a few nights ago.
Yeah, that's a big part of the movie involves using old school film, like a crank film camera instead of the digital film, because the UFO can turn it off. Yeah. The other thing about physical film is that it actually has more data. It has more information in it than the digital film. Yeah. So you could get more stuff out of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody ever wants to talk about it, but the Patterson film was on a film camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Spring loaded. Well, how do you get that? And we can't get it on this. I mean, all he had was a device, and it was shaky as shit. If you ever watched the regular one,
yeah,
I don't even know how he saw the Bigfoot in it. I don't know how it wasn't like, well, what is that? I mean, it was all over the place. That's also a factor they never bring up, even though I kind of think it's fake. I don't want to be the guy that I don't want to be the one that tries to say it's fake, but it kind of, I mean, it's a little too good to be true. Maybe not. I don't know. I want it to be real, but if I had to put money on
the holy grail of Bigfoot, so
yeah, I mean, but you got the guy that pawned his mom's wedding ring to get a video camera to get a picture of Bigfoot, and gets a picture of Bigfoot. I mean, if you're all the cards are, if I had to put money on it right now, I'd say it's fake, but I want it to be real. Like, I'll go to it every time.
Oh, yeah.
Scarborough just reiterates what we just said. I got to thinking about it when Randy was saying no cameras and how they can test the digital. They can feel the digital cameras. I'm like, well, the Patterson film wasn't digital. It just had a roll up spring.
Yep. They will drain batteries.
It didn't even have batteries.
Yeah, I know that. But I'm saying
it was basically the one they used in Nope, just a smaller version. I wonder if they ever found that. They should do a part 2 of Nope where they showed the inside of that thing. That was that weird guy from Hail Caesar, that director.
Yeah, the photographer. I heard he was the villain in The Crow as well. Yeah. He's
the guy that talks that doesn't open his mouth. I don't know how he does
it. Michael Wincott, I think is his name. Yeah.
When they went to see him during Nope, that's when I went to the bathroom because I knew what they were going to get him to do. I said, I can just come back later for this.
Oh, man. Yeah, the other thing about Patterson Gimlin film was that, okay, number one, they were super out in the woods. I have some, I went to Microsoft Flight Simulator and I filmed the area It's super mountain. It's like covered in mountains, that area where they were. So they were in a little valley between the mountains, and there's like nothing there, no civilization. So they were out in the open. They were also on horse. They were on horseback, so they didn't have any gasoline, no oil. They probably hadn't bathed in a while. I don't know if they even had deodorant on. And and the camera didn't have any. They had no electrical devices on them. I think all that stuff helped them, contributed to them. Yeah.
Yeah, all the boxes were checked to get a sighting, other than what led up to them going. That's what gets me. The intentions were to do that. I'm like, God, come on, you just don't tell me that. just leave the part out that he's a con man, like Stephen Greer. That I was almost going to ask Tim about that earlier, but I wasn't going to waste any time with him. If he was going to talk, I was going to let him talk. Like, I've heard Stephen Greer was a con man.
Oh yeah, doing those EC5s.
Wasn't he the guy who? Yeah, he was the. Wasn't he the guy that had the little alien doll that he kept trying to get X-rayed?
Yeah, that was him. Well, it was a mummy. It was a mummy, but it was like an infant. It wasn't even an infant. I think it was what is it called when the human is inside the womb still? Not an embryo. Fetus. Yeah, fetus. But I think it turned out to be human. Yeah.
It was just such a train wreck, cringe-worthy documentary, and I can't turn them down. Because even though I don't like Bobo and them, I still watch their show if it's on.
He said, I remember he said one thing that turned me off. I mean, he's done a lot of crazy things like Stephen Greer, but he said one thing one time in an interview. It just hit me the wrong way. He was like, these aren't aliens. He was trying to like tell people not to call them aliens. He's like, when you say alien, they're not a Mexican. And just the way he said that is like, I didn't like that. I was like, what's wrong with Mexicans? I just did not like that.
Like the reference to opening scene from Men in Black.
Yeah, that's true. There were some Mexicans.
You don't speak a lick of English, do you, buddy? We got a bug. Scarborough says, remember only Patterson was doing interviews. No Gimlin. Yeah, Gimlin came along later, I guess. Because that's why it's always called the Patterson film up until recently.
But they were both there, right? They were both witness. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even the dude in the suit was there. I mean, present with his giant Bigfoot breasts for some reason. See, that's always everybody always points that out, and I'm like, why is that what everybody goes to? It could have been just a rolled up part, but maybe it's the selling point. Maybe that's what makes it real.
The hook.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's always what they go to. Oh, look, it's got breasts. But up until recently, I didn't know that people were seeing Bigfoot babies. We got another comment coming in. We'll see what he says. I wanted to see what he said. We'll close out here in a second. Trees, check out Driftless. He does recordings of sound analysis.
Driftless, okay.
Glenn, have you heard the Sierra sounds anywhere when you saw all your stuff? Wah, 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 wah.
I've heard sounds, but not like those. No. Everybody's probably heard of what they call it, the bionic bird. Have you heard that?
Like a thunderbird?
No. You can Google it, and everybody says that's the noise that it most mimics. To me, it sounds kind of like a horse and a bird. It's kind of like a neigh, like a horse. You know how they'll neigh. I think I'm saying it right. Neighing, and then it's a really loud bird, and a lot of people call it the bionic bird.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know my grandmother? They live out in the woods, and my grandma always had a story when they first moved into their new house out there. The first night they were there, they heard a bird they heard something on one side of the creek that sounded like a horse. And then they'd heard it on the other side of their house, like 100 feet away. But like 2 seconds later, it sounded like a horse too in the woods. But it never heard clomping or anything. She goes, I guess it was a bird that sounded weird, but I've never heard it again. Now I'm freaking out.
You could have had a Bigfoot experience and didn't know it. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a recording of it. If not, remind me. I think somewhere I have a recording of one. And then I have a recording that someone shared with me. They were in the mountains of the Carolinas, and they were all around the campfire late at night, and they heard the raccoons fighting and arguing out in the woods. And then they heard this deep guttural growl as the raccoons were fighting. And the next thing they hear is this smack, and there's no more sound of a raccoon again. And another big loud growl. So I have that recording too. So I got permission to share that. So
I would like to hear that. I've heard a lot of sounds in the woods in my life. I bet I could pick something out there, or pick the lack thereof, pick something out.
Yeah, it's an interesting recording because there's no doubt that. Well, I won't say there's no doubt it's not a raccoon. I can't say, but it sounds like raccoons. But whatever has got the deep guttural growl, it's something much larger than them. And then when the raccoon noise terminated suddenly with a thud.
Have you heard the Sierra sounds? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, it's like if you send me the tape and it's the Sierra sounds, I'm gonna pee my pants. Like, bro.
Yeah, I've heard them.
Have you been sitting on this? You know, I'll close out with this one. I've told it before, but David Parker, one of the other Bigfoot guys, says that there's no poisonous snakes or venomous snakes. Sorry, Wild and Mindy, venomous snakes. That's just my North Alabama poisonous. No venomous snakes on his property, but you go just down the road and there's venomous snake. It's the same way with my parents' property, and he thinks the Bigfoots are keeping them away, or big feet.
Oh,
Like my parents have almost the same kind of land that David has, the same amount, and just the next plot down where the guys have a farm, rattlesnakes all over the place, same kind of terrain. Never seen a poisonous snakes. We've lived there since the 80s.
Wow.
Seen all kinds of black snakes and stuff. The kind that scare you but won't hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
The only indication that there's ever been a poisonous snake on our property is I had a goat one time, and I had it on like you put a dog on a leash on a chain in the yard, and it makes a circle.
Yeah.
Well, you do a goat like that to kind of clear an area.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me a goat, and we came back from the Smokies, and the goat was dead from a snake bite. From what we assumed was a snake bite. It was just dead. It couldn't have been. I don't know what else it could have been. Goat disease.
That's a hide in this show on, isn't it? Yeah. I told a dead goat story. It shows it.
Yeah. I've never told that before. Because when David told me that about no vipers being on his property, I'm like, well, shit, there's never been vipers on my property either. And I'm not, and it hadn't been without me being on the thing. I'm up in the woods hanging tree stands in the middle of August. If there's a viper, it's going to find me.
We get copperheads on our yard.
Yeah. We've never had copperheads and never had rattlesnakes. I don't think there's anywhere for a cottonmouth to be. There is a creek on the side, but I don't know. It's kind of bordering the property line, hard to get to. But I've never seen a poisonous snake on that property, or the one they just bought the land next to it. I've never seen one over there either. I used to patrol it with my BB gun, like I was security.
I saw an interesting video today, and it was a bunch of goats or sheep. I can't remember now. And they're walking in a circle. This is in northern China, and there's lots of farmers there, and they're just walking in the circle, like a bunch of them. And it's freaking everybody out because they don't know why they're doing that.
I think I saw that.
Did you? Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. And like, that looks so weird, that video.
Somebody was saying it was like maybe a phenomenon under the ground.
Yeah, it seemed like I saw that too, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. I thought it was neat.
You triggered a core memory over here. I can't remember what I saw it on. I do remember seeing sheep in a circle though. That was weird.
Yeah. I can't remember what I clicked on. It was on my phone and I clicked on it. I don't know where it was though, specifically.
Hang on. I'm looking at this. Sheep in a circle.
I think there was mention that there's a brain disease they can get where it causes them to go like one direction, like they keep going right. But I don't know that they verified that that's what's going on with these individuals.
12 days without stopping.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't like that at all.
No.
It's all at night too. Y'all seen this?
No, I'm just hearing about it right now. Sounds crazy.
Actually, yeah, it's crazy.
Flock of sheep was spotted moving in a circle for 12 days.
Yeah, there they go.
Yeah.
I would just start shooting them. Well, you possess sheep. Well, all right.
You wonder if it's like, certain individuals who are sort of the leaders that they start doing it and everyone else follows, or are they all doing it synchronously, in synchrony?
It's possible. It's like they're on a path, like something's in the middle there.
Yeah.
Mongolia.
Yeah.
Man, I bet there's something in Mongolia we don't know about. No one's ever been there. All right, folks. We'll end it on that. I'm gonna be watching the sheep in the circle all night now.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, she says ants and elk are doing it as well.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh,
Well,
not good. I don't know why. I don't think it's good.
yeah, I don't like ants and elk mimicking each other. I've seen Dreamcatcher. It never ends that well. Mongolian says Long Island. I said Mongolian Bigfoot. Long Island Bigfoot said Mongolian barbecue is delicious. All right, I'm going to end the live. Thanks everybody for being on. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks
Long Island, you're a saint.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and happy Thanksgiving.
Tim UFO Man, if you're watching, thanks. Yeah, thanks Glenn and Mindy and Wild Trees as well.
You're welcome.
Really saved my hind end this afternoon. I'm gonna have Glenn on again though, because we need deep dive into Glenn. Every time I talk to you, something else happens. Wealth of information.
Nah.
All right.
I'm just glad.
Bye-bye.
Okay.